right, welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, special edition. Boy, if we were fancy, we'd call it the interview series. Maybe we'll do that in the off season. But this is going to be fun, Razor. A couple of days off for the Bruins as they just found out who they're going to be playing in the second round. They're going to take on the New York Islanders. You and I actually had 2 days off of talking with each other, so I'm sure that made you very happy. But here we get a chance right now to talk to the other number one. You're the original number one to me, buddy. Jeremy Swayman is going to be coming and joining us soon. This is going to be fun because to get the chance in a relaxed environment, off day during the playoffs, and put yourself into his skates, Razor. Could you imagine now? Like, you can't imagine like what this has got to be like for him getting ready for the second round of the playoffs. Weather's getting great in Boston, and we're going to have a full house in Game 1.
I can't imagine how exciting it would be to be able to come out of being in college a year ago. And, I played right away as a junior kid and came up, but to be a black ace is different than being that backup goalie. And I was here for those games and sitting up in the stands, but to be part of the mix, to be down on the bench during these games has got to be so exciting and to have an opportunity. I mean, listen, there's only 8 teams left now, and you get that much closer, and to be able to do that right away is super cool. And he has no idea what it's going to be like down there with a full garden. It's going to be a whole new experience for him.
Speaking of cool,
we'll talk about it.
We will talk about it. But speaking of cool, that has been a real calling card of his. Cool. You've said it before on our air. Cool and calm, collected. The triple C's. But can you put yourself back, to when 2003, 2004, and say, like, were you cool as well, or were you, looking back, or were you anything but cool internally?
No, pretty cool. Goalies that you kind of have to be. I wasn't an energy guy. I didn't play better when I got all amped up. I had to be low key and bring it down a little bit. And goalie Bob, we had the same goalie coach again, a guy who is low key and just another game fella. No big deal. Let's go out and play and have fun. And so I was like that. It's always a little bit of a duck swimming. It looks nice and calm, but lots going on underneath the water.
Yeah.
However, if you put the work in, you're in a good spot and you have fun with it. So, but it's exciting. There's a lot that building's electric.
I can't wait. I can't wait myself. We got to get goalie Bob on. Holy smokes, do we have to get Bob Ascend on one time to talk?
He's a 3-parter. He'll be a 3-parter.
He'll be Shogun, or he'll
just go. Yeah, exactly. It's like he could do the whole interview season. He could be the interview season himself. It'd be the best. He'll come on.
I love that. Well, we know that Jeremy Swayman was getting a little post-practice work in, and it appears that he is ready to come join us here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get you set for the interview series with Jaffe and Razor. Jeremy Swayman coming up here on Morning Brew. All right, so how awesome is this, Razor? We get a kid to come out of the weight room and onto the pod. First time for everything. Not only is he a great goalie, but he's working his ass off the ice, too. Jeremy Swayman joining us here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. A lot of fun. Jeremy, let's just listen, man. Appreciate you taking the time. We know you only got a couple of days off here in between games. But to take a little time to join us here on the Morning Brew, which has become a real big place for Bruins fans to go, it means a lot to us, and I know to the fans.
Well, likewise, just super grateful you have me on.
This is going to be fun. We're going to cover a lot. We're going to, Razor, he's got goalie questions. He's got so much stuff. We're going to get right to it, though, all right? I got to know the number one thing, because I got the number one guy here in Raycroft, Calder Trophy winner with the Bruins, early 2000s, right? 2003 to be exact. I got my dates right.
Right. No, you got
2004. Sorry. Well, I suck with numbers. Yeah. Number one. We haven't seen many number ones. I mean, you've always been a one though, right? I know at Maine, and where's that genesis of number one for you? And What does it mean to be another number one for the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool experience. I actually saw on Twitter Raycroft Razor tweeted that out, and that was pretty cool to realize that. And I've been really fortunate on basically every team I've been on to be able to still be number one. Another goalie hasn't taken it or hasn't been retired yet, so super grateful for that. And I don't know, I'm sure Razor has his own opinions on why he chose it, but I thought it was a pretty special number, and it's kind of not too many goalies nowadays use it as much, and I think it's coming back slowly, which is kind of cool to see. But again, it's pretty unique to have that, and to be able to wear it in the Bruins jersey is pretty special too.
It is. There's still room for that number one up in the rafters. That was always, that's one of the few single-digit ones up there. So there you go. That's one I thought of. And yeah, for me, it's old school and traditional, certainly with the Bruins, and in Toronto was the same way. I had to lose it. Luongo wore one in Vancouver, so I finally had to change over. So to your point, sometimes you don't always get to make that choice. But having one you should be good for a while here with that number one. And glad you're in the weight room. The only time I got out of the weight room was to do an interview as well. The only time I wanted to do one of these podcasts or an interview is if I was in the weight room, so I could rush out of there. But I know the game's changed, so I'm glad you're in shape and ready to roll. So I want to go right away and a little bit off ice stuff. How's it been? Have you been in the hotel the last 5 months? Have you been getting accustomed to living on your own and not being in the dorms anymore and not having a billet? What's that been like? I'm sure it's a little different than a usual year, but have you been able to settle into what quote unquote Boston life?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. It has been a crazy year with living in hotels and stuff. It's a little different, but in college I was living with a couple of roommates off campus, so I'm kind of used to cooking on my own, doing my own thing. But as far as this year, I started out with an apartment in Providence, so I wasn't staying in a hotel, thankfully. And yeah, I had an apartment there, and then whenever I got called up to go on a road trip, so I've been obviously hotels and stuff. But around April time when I was up, full time, it was been in the hotel. So it's been pretty cool. It's different, but it's not the worst thing in the world, right? It's a goalie mindset of adapting to where you are and focusing on the here and now, and controlling what you can control. So I'm having fun. I think it's a great thing. I mean, it's not a bad hotel at all. You really could appreciate the little things. So I'm enjoying it.
And you don't have to make your bed. I mean,
That's right.
they make it for you. I mean, how beautiful is that?
With COVID, they don't have the room service. I think it's like once a week. So I've been making the bed a couple of times. Yeah.
Have you been able to start walking around a bit more? Have you been able to quote unquote get away from the game a little bit here and there, and understand that those moments kind of help reset you?
I have, and yeah, I'm right in the Watertown area, so it's a little bit out of the city, which is nice, and I get to walk along the Charles and kind of see the suburb area. But going into Boston is the same way. You get to walk around. It's one of the coolest cities in the U.S. and you could ask anyone, they'd say the same. So it's a really special city. But yeah, I have been, and with COVID, people are getting the vaccine. I know my second dose is 2 weeks ago today, so I'm actually fully vaccinated now, which is nice. It's a little better feeling, but yeah, it's been really fun, and it's cool to see things opening up, so I can kind of get a better taste of what it's like in the city.
Certain playoff time in Boston is nothing better, especially end of May. You get an extra couple weeks out of it. So I would imagine the next few weeks will be pretty good time here in the city. I'll jump to the ice now, and I'll fast forward a little bit just because I know you started on the taxi squad, and I saw you a few times at Warrior with my little guys, and your guys are grinding out there with Jay Leach and Mike Dunham, and there's 4 or 5 guys, and I'm sure some of those days were longer than others. I know what that's like on that taxi squad. But now that you're in the NHL, now that you've gone through a couple months, what are the things that you didn't know you had to work on your game? What are the few things that have come up in the NHL that you recognize, wow, I got to get a lot better at this that I didn't expect?
There's a lot of things that I've learned that I got to get better at, right? It's an ever evolving game, and each level you go up in, there's going to be better skill, faster plays, bigger bodies, and just the patience and vision on some of these guys. Obviously, I'm practicing, with the top line in the world, basically with Pasta, Bergie, and Marshy. Seeing those guys compete every day and the vision they have, uh, you know, I've gotten so much better just seeing the rushes better and seeing, what they see at a play versus what, I saw in college and whatnot. So it's been a really, fun transition to learn how to take rushes from, top-notch guys and the compete level. I think the compete level here is unmatched. I think that has a lot to do with the leadership in our locker room as well. Every guy in here, doesn't take no for an answer. So it's pretty special when you see a whole team doing that, even on a day after a game when you're kind of beat up and you want that off day almost. But again, that's something that has been created here. I think a long time ago. The culture here is astounding, and it's been a really fun process to be a part of.
So it's interesting. How much do you talk with the forwards, a guy like a Bergie, a Pasta, Marshy, whomever it is, to learn more from them? That of course, you learn a ton from your goalie coaches and your training, but how much do you talk to the shooters to learn more from them, what they're thinking, what they're looking at?
I mean, I feel comfortable talking to any one of them. That's just, there's no egos here, which is super nice. It's really special when you get a captain like Bergeron coming up to you every morning and say good morning first. It's that kind of mentality around here. But I like to kid around. I keep it light, and guys that are scoring on me a lot, I like to kid around and say, "What are you seeing? What are you seeing? Am I giving up glove side, blocker side?" And then we'll talk vice versa, and I can get better from it. But yeah, I
Is
have
there
no
anybody
problem.
on the team that's given it to you more than others in practice that you're having a harder time with? Who's been
I mean,
sniping on you?
I mean, it's pretty hard to stop Marshy and Bergie on a 2-on-1. I can tell you that, but it's fun when you do stop them because then it's like, all right, that's an accomplishment for the day. But again, I want to have that same compete they do because they don't want to take no for an answer. So it's fun to kind of match their compete level and get better because that's the bottom line is if I'm competing as hard as I can to make them not score, that means they're going to get better. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here, and it's been fun doing that.
I'm sure Brad quietly goes to the corner when he scores on anybody out in practice and moves on to the next drill. I can see that exactly. Goalie Bob, the best, was my goalie coach last couple years in Boston. How important has he been? And I know, I mean, he's your coach, so you give the good answer. But what I know what he brings to the table, and especially for a young guy, I can imagine what he's done and his calming influence, his ability to talk more than just technique and being able to see all different situations in the game. How important has he been for the off the ice stuff, the dealing with coaches, the dealing with other players as a young goalie? How much has he helped?
Uh, he's influential, in all of that aspects. I think it best is he just brings, a calm mentality. He doesn't get too high or too low. His emotion is always happy-go-lucky, it seems like, and he's serious also. So it's a really good vibe to be a part of. And again, if I'm really hyped up about something like, my first game or obviously in a playoff atmosphere, it's like it's just another game. You've done it before. It's no bigger or smaller than the one you've played before. So that helps me a lot, and again, that goes back to my goalie coaching at Maine with Alfie Michaud as well, and Mike Dunham in Providence. I've been so fortunate to have those three in my corner, in my playing career this far. So I've just been super fortunate, and I'm really excited for what's next.
We haven't seen you nervous yet, overtly. We haven't. That doesn't mean that you haven't been internally nervous. So the piggyback off Razor's kind of question, what's the most nervous that you've been so far? I mean, like what does a nervous Jeremy Swayman look like? Because you're out there taking selfies, pics, you're having a good time, laughing with the officials. What do we look for when you're nervous?
I think you look. It's funny. I replaced the word nervous with excitement in my own head, and that helps me a lot. if I'm thinking of, a game and if I let in a goal, it's gonna ruin my day or my career. Like you can't think like that. It's just one shot at a time, and that's gonna give yourself confidence as well as your team, and inadvertently that's helped me so much in my playing career and in life in general. And so I take it, as just another game, or if I'm in a practice, it's just another practice, and I know that if I'm doing my job, my players and teammates are going to do theirs as well. So there's really no reason to be nervous when you're having fun and expecting greatness from yourself and others.
So playoff time is here now. I'm curious, have they had you, did they have you today, for instance? Are you Ilya Sorokin in practice today? Were you Craig Anderson and Samsonov? Have you been doing the mirror practice? I know I did that a lot, especially for the Twins in Vancouver and Kessler. Those guys wanted me to play like Jonathan Quick or Corey Crawford or Antti Niemi, whoever they were going up against. I'm curious, have you had that the last few days, the last few weeks? Or are they giving that to Yarrow?
I think, right now I just want to focus on, making sure I'm competing and not letting them score easy, because that's going to help them more. I have watched a little bit of, Sorokin's play and his tendencies, and, I actually kind of like his game. He doesn't get lost. He doesn't get, in the bad areas. So it's been good to see the positives and what these other goalies bring to the table. But, of course, if someone asks me, hey, let's do some tendencies, I'm going to do it in a heartbeat, because I know that's what's going to help the team, and it's something that I want to do. So as of right now, I'm just focusing on stopping the puck and making sure I'm competing. But when that time comes, I'll be ready to do that.
I've never asked this to a goalie, never to raise or whatever, but like, how do you watch the game when you're backing up? You're used to playing so much, especially your time at Maine. You started like 100% or 99.9 or whatever of the games up there, but then you get to the A, you get to the NHL, and now in the playoffs, your role right now, you're embracing it. How do you watch the game, and are you a vocal guy there? What's it like for you there?
Absolutely vocal, as much as I can be, making sure I'm helping the team, because talking on the bench helps the players on the ice so much. We see other things that you don't see when I'm in the net, or when you're a defenseman getting a rush. It's really important to be talking on the bench. But when I'm on the bench, I get to see the play from a different perspective, and I learned so much just from that. Just seeing what guys are doing without the puck, where they are, where they're getting to areas, and certain players, they're getting to a kind of a soft area, and that's the most dangerous guy on the ice, as Razor knows, is the guy without the puck. So it's pretty cool to see that, and just watch different tendencies of the play, and that only helps myself see the game better.
I spent most of my backup days eating hot dogs and popcorn on the bench, especially at the end. Enough watching these NHL games. How many ticket requests from Maine in the past 3 days with a full Garden? Game 1 of the second round of the playoffs. There's no way you're not getting inundated. Probably from guys but also a few that just happen to have your cell phone number from your freshman year in Maine hitting you up at this point now. You getting smoked?
It sounds like you've had that experience.
Yeah.
It's been
people
funny.
don't call my phone anymore, but they used to.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Like, I think after my first game, I had north of 400 texts that I just, it's tough, because it's like really good to see all this support, but it's tough because you can't reply right away and then you feel bad. But no, it's been pretty good. Like, again, I have a lot of quality friends and family that, they know, what I'm experiencing right now, what I'm going through, and they definitely don't want to get, interfere with that, which is nice. But we've had the Maine crowd to a few games, especially in the regular season, and they always wear the Maine get up. So it's pretty special when they're there.
Yeah, it's fun. Who's coming then? Who do you got coming?
I don't know right now.
No?
Yeah, we're gonna, obviously play it by ear, but I definitely want to have my dad come and mom come. So at some point, but with,
it's a different
them
experience
vaccinated.
when that Garden's full. It'll be something to see.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Speaking of Maine, and I know you touched on this publicly about Red, the sudden passing of Red, somebody that Razor and I knew. I got to know him real well over the years too. I'm imagining you think of him regularly, daily, if not all the time, just because of you've publicly said how much he meant to you in the 3 years that you spent there. If people don't or either heard Red speak or got to know him at all and they're listening to this here, he was one of the most wonderfully warm people in a gruff way, publicly at least, right? I mean, every other word was pretty much an F-bomb or an expletive or something. But I mean, but if he talked to you, with you like that, right? So he cared about you. And that's what made him this big, lovable bear. And I know he lost a lot of weight in the last couple of years, but not just what did he mean to you, because I understand he meant a lot to you, but what do you think of him when what comes into your mind when you think of him on a daily basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really appreciate those words. I mean, I do think of it on a daily basis, and it's mostly away from the rink, which is special, and because not only did he want me to be a good hockey player, he wanted me to be a good human being. And, whether it's my relationships, family life, he really wanted you to be the best human being you could possibly be. And that's going to stick with me forever. And again, people like you that got to know him, and you didn't have to have a super personable relationship with him. You just knew that he wanted the best for you and out of you as well. And, that's something I get to think about every day. And I still have a great relationship with his wife and daughters. And it's been really special to, be able to see them and kind of, still be in that family environment and be there for them and vice versa. So again, I mean, he's one of a kind. He's someone that, the hockey community all got better from. And, we miss him and we love him, and we're just grateful for his teachings while he was here.
Real quick, Razor, before you go. So right before your first start, a little quick story, I called up, texted Red. And because I'd seen, like Razor had seen you at practice, I had seen you, but I haven't gotten to know you because of this damn COVID thing. We don't get to experience, sit down and talk with you as broadcasters, analysts. And as I text Red, I said, hey, got a minute, day later, all of a sudden, my phone rings. And it's Red. And I'm like, hey, and Red, typical Red. And excuse my language here, folks. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? What's going on? How the fuck, you guys are doing. And he's got this accent, so he goes, you guys do a pretty goddamn good fucking job on there, like in typical Red fashion. And, I like you, so I'm calling you. You know that. And I loved Red. Red and I had a great relationship. But that was him. And then we talked for 20 minutes about just his experience coaching you and just what was going on at Maine and a lot of other things, life too. And that's what I loved about him as well. So you hit it dead on there. And again, I apologize, folks, for the language, but that's Red. And so I'm actually honoring him.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's one of a kind.
Swing it back. Now you've got NHL games, a little bit of NHL money. Any toys, anything you're gonna treat yourself with come summertime that you've told yourself this is what I'm gonna get once I make it and once I get there. Have you got anything good planned?
Yeah, Lozon and I were both really into guitar, and he showed me his 12-string guitar, and I kind of fell in love with that. And so that might be on the list for this summer. It's pretty cool. It sounds amazing. So I think that's what's on the list.
Where did this guitar start? Like what? Let's get a little into this. When did you start guitar, and where are you at now with it?
I actually I started up my sophomore year at Maine. My captain, Mitch Fossier, he's just super talented singer guitarist, and he was the one that got me into it. And I would borrow his guitar and we just have jam sessions, and then I fell in love with it and just started learning on YouTube, and now I'm pretty confident with it, and it's been a really fun process. So yeah, it's the best. And if you want to talk about getting away from the game, I just kind of love playing music and stepping away, and you just kind of get lost. So it's pretty nice.
What's your best song?
I don't know. You might have to ask Lozy about that one. I like the finger pick a lot. Like, I don't use a guitar pick that much, so a lot of finger picking songs like Landslide, a lot of Vance Joy songs, just kind of a cool acoustic vibe.
And how good is Jeremy?
Jeremy's good. Yeah, Jeremy's good. He's like the epitome of like a awesome campfire song guy. Just
Oh,
That's
perfect,
where I was going with you. That was my next one.
perfect,
Yeah, it's straight
perfect
campfire. That
songs.
12 stringer is gonna
Yeah.
do damage.
Oh man, he's got the amp and everything. He's a rock star. Yeah, it's awesome.
you're going to have to get him up to Alaska and
Oh yeah.
bring guitars and go out there. So I've been to Alaska numerous times, both for hockey and for fishing. I'm a fly fisherman. I love it.
Yes.
I don't know if you know an old buddy of mine. You might because of the hockey connection, and he owns lodges out there. Brian Kraft. Do you know Crafty
Oh.
at all? Okay.
I know Crafty. I used to play with him in a Wednesday night men's league with my old coaches when I was like 14.
Oh,
And
no
it was
way.
it was like 40 and over league, and I would play, and they would light me up. Yeah, they would light me up, but
So,
it was awesome.
oh, that is awesome. Like I texted Crafty. I don't know if I have the right number or not. He might be out at the Sportsman's Lodge, and I've been there. I think 2 or 3 times. And again,
Wow.
I love fishing like that. My dad and I go in there. I love fly fishing. Love it. And bear encounters, grizzlies. It's awesome. You fish with the bears. So that for me is the most Alaska thing I've done. And I know you love the outdoors and all that, but like really, what's the most hardcore Alaska thing you've ever done or encountered in your time?
Actually, it's funny because this summer was like one of the most epic summers I've had there, just because it was so long. We had a lot of time, and I'm usually never there for the fall fishing run, which is the best time of year, like the
Yeah.
mid to late August rainbow trout run, and that's when they get fat. So I had some pretty awesome experiences this summer, exactly hiking in a mile or two in your waders, and then kind of fishing the river down, and then seeing brown bears come right across the river from you. And you just you still fish, but you're watching them, right? Because
Right.
what's nice is that they're focused on fish, so they're not even focused on you because there's just so many
They're happy.
fish there. So they're happy. But yeah, there's always some crazy stories with bear encounters on fishermen on the river. But I did a really cool backpacking trip this summer with a buddy, right across from the Denali mountain range. And so we were on a ridge. It's called Kasugi Ridge, and it was like a 32 miles. And you literally just get up on the ridge. We did it in one night, 2 days. We were that was a tilt, but
Wow.
we went up and you hike along this ridge, and it's just this awesome view of Denali and then the whole Alaska range behind it. And it was perfect weather the first day, and then just torrential pouring the second day, and our boots were waterlogged and everything. I lost 4 toenails because of just the constant, squish and like banging. Yeah, it was brutal. But yeah, that was a pretty special,
That's Alaska.
special trip.
That is
was
Alaska right
Yeah.
there.
That is Alaska.
Yeah. But we'll have to get up to the Sportsman's Lodge. I haven't talked to Crafty yet, but that would be pretty cool.
It is. Well, I'm going there next summer. I'm doing it.
I'm in.
I'm telling you right now, we're going to take over the lodge. I don't know if Razor. I don't know if you're a fly fisherman or not. He's only got 16
going
spots
golfing.
at the whole lodge. I'm telling you, you get yourself into forget a 35-inch, a 22-inch rainbow on a 6-weight fly rod.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's like we have a term on our show here, hockey wood. It's like when Pasta scores a goal, like it did the other night. Like it's like hockey excitement. It's fishing wood. Trust me, it's trout wood. It is unbelievable, man. And you fight it for. It's better. Look, and I love golf, man. It is, but this is it's spectacular. So
yeah, I kind of got lost there. I was like, my mind was just fishing there for a sec. So
Yeah.
we'll dial it back in. Sorry.
What I want to know about, we'll bring it to the ice for a couple more minutes here. Like, I know you had your first game. It's exciting, this and that. Is there a moment, though, from one of your games where you made a save or a play happened, and even you internally were like, oh, yeah, like freaking yeah, like that was a great moment. Not a welcome to the moment, welcome to the NHL moment, but that moment of freaking awesome, man. This was cool. Like that save was this or that, or a player, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just you're playing against the best in the world. Someone on the other team is, future Hall of Famer, if not just awesome players. So it's been really cool. I think one of those saves was at home though against the Islanders, and I don't know, it might have been Paul Mary went for a wraparound, got my pad, and then it shot out right. I think one of the D-men dove down. I just kind of dove on it, like just a desperation save, but just being at home and then hearing the crowd at like 25% capacity, so I could only imagine what it'd be like at 100%. That was kind of a cool moment, and then finishing up and getting the win there as well. It was like 3-0 win, and that was pretty special. I actually had Alfie and his whole family in the crowd too, my goalie coach, and so it's just kind of one of those moments where it's like, Alf was there, obviously Red was up there, and it was just a really, really cool experience to be a part of that, and that was one I'll definitely remember.
Just the last one for me, Tuukka. What you've seen him a little bit the last couple of years. You see him being in Maine. You saw a bunch of games, I assume. What could you tell everybody that doesn't necessarily just dig in, look kind of goalie geek nerdy? Why he's so good, and what he does in a practice daily, and how great of his timing is, his hockey sense is. What's so impressive about him to you?
Yeah, I think you just nailed it. It's just his timing and hockey sense, the way he sees a play and rush develop. I think, what obviously I know as a goalie, what you know as a goalie is that he's got such a calm demeanor, a lot like goalie Bob, right? It's just, it's another game, right? But then he's got some fire too. And it's just so great to see that. Like, he is so explosive off his post. He could fight through screens, and these big bodies in front. He's flexible, he's athletic. And, it's really cool to see when he gets a little fire in his eyes, and then he competes. He competes until the play's over. So that's pretty special to see, and I'm learning every day from him. And he's been awesome too. Like another guy I could go up to and ask a question like, "Hey, what are you doing on this play? Guy's coming down half wall. Is he below the dot? Are you going into the post seal? Are you staying up? Are you overlapping?" And then he's just like, "I just overlap." It's just like another save. Like, I don't think about it, just do it. I don't know. And it's pretty cool, to hear that. And again, like I've learned that too. Like I used to question a lot and be like, is this the perfect way to do it? And there's never really a perfect answer. It's just feeling the ice. He's feeling the game, seeing the ice well, and that's what he does really well, and that's what I want to do as well.
I'm gonna jump in one more goalie geek that
Yep.
just came to me. Shin lock. What about his shin lock? How sick is that, and how he plays off his post for anything? Like it's really difficult.
Yeah, what is a shin lock?
The way
But
he
explain
does
what.
off of his shin. So on the post, you're gonna have your toe up against the post in the RVH. We see goalies all the time down low. The puck goes down below the goal line or down below the hash marks. Goalies will go into a toe lock. Younger guys, especially because their hips are better. Jeremy goes into a toe lock. Tuukka is going into a shin lock, so he's going all the way into his net. What it does is it makes it more difficult to move laterally left to right, typically, because you don't have the same push, the same ability to pop, but Tuukka does. He's learned that over the years, being able to save his hips. But what he does with that shin lock is it never gives up short side, because he can seal that inside post so well. He's so close to it because his body's closer to the post, rather than if you're on a toe lock, you have a little bit of room. We've all seen the goals, and people go, "Why are the goalies doing? Why is that giving up? Why doesn't he just stand there?" There's a reason for it, but I'm curious if you've been able to adapt any of that shin lock. Have you thought about it? Have you talked to him about that? Have you talked to goalie Bob about it? Because watching it, he just doesn't get scored from that position, and I know that's something that guys are thinking about a lot in the goalie world. I know Alfie's thinking about it all the time. I know those guys are all talking on how to play it best. Long-winded question. I apologize.
No worries. It's a new, kind of a new era thing that he's brought, and goalie Bob has brought, to the game. And I work on it every day. I've been working on it since Maine as well. And it is exactly what it is. It's going to save your hips, and you're not going to let in that goal like I did against Washington, like off the head, maybe, potentially.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
it still
that's right. I
goes
should
in.
have brought that. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. That's the exact example. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things like, I do it a lot. So it's basically like I trust my hips a lot too, where I can get out of it pretty comfortably. It's just going into it, what I've been working on. And exactly what you say, like when you're in a shin lock, your whole entire right side or left side up to your shoulder is covering the post, and I'm just sealed up. So there's no way there's going to be a goal against short side. The only question is if you have an oncoming rush against, say, your left side, they could pass it across and you can kind of get exposed. So that's what I've been working on. Obviously, he does it really well, and it's really cool to see him transition into it. And he literally just slams a post. It's awesome. And then he just comes out just as explosive. So, yeah, I ask him questions on that and goalie Bob as well. And it's been something that I'm trying to transition into my game and getting comfortable with.
The only thing I know about shin lock usually happens at about mile 2 of a run. That's about it. They used to make us run a 5-mile time at the end of training camp at Michigan. I'm going back many years ago when I had full head of hair, and holy shit, I was 215 pounds, and it was the last thing I wanted to do, and, a shin lock happened to me. That's all I know. My last question is pregame. So you are very amenable, agreeable, open to the fans, especially when you're not starting, I've noticed. That's it, you're very much involved there. But you also have a routine. And all players, whether you're a skater or a goalie, everybody has a routine. But you bring yours to center ice. You get the fast switch going. Speaking of hips, you go to the full Monty, just about split, Razor, could you still do a full split, you think, Bud?
I never could.
No?
I couldn't
Oh,
do
really?
it when I was
No?
22. No, not in my repertoire.
All right. So, two-part question. I'll start with this. When could you first do the splits? How comfortable is it for you to get there? That's a part of the first part. And then the other part is about the confidence and calmness to do that involvement with the fans. I know it's a different era of goaltenders. I understand that you're a different breed, but we don't still see that often about, that involvement level with fans.
Yeah, the first part, my sister was in gymnastics when she was younger, and I was kind of her test dummy. And when she learned the splits, that meant I learned the splits. So obviously I have, good genetics with, flexible hips and stuff. But yeah, she was the one that was teaching me the stretches at a young age, like 4 or 5 years old. So I was still pretty bendy, and learned the splits, and I've thanked her ever since. I'm like, Beth, you've really helped me out here. So that's awesome. But yeah, I'm super comfortable with it. It's something you work on every day, and obviously getting, older and playing a lot more, you definitely want to stay on top of it and recovery as well. So, super comfortable with it, and, definitely working on it every day. Second part with the fans, I definitely learned that in college. I always liked, when guys, like I was a stick boy for UAA, which is University of Alaska Anchorage, growing up, and man, it would make my day when a player would come up to me and say, "What's up, Sway?" or "What's up, Jeremy?" and just give me the time of day. That's it, and that would make my day. And so I was talking to my dad about it, and I was like, that's what I want to do one day, is to be able to make another person feel how I did when I was at UAA, when the players gave me that kind of attention, either from the ice or in the tunnel. And that's the thing. It's like we're all humans. We're in the entertainment industry, and I want to be, a person that people can look at and say, hey, he's just another person, and it's pretty cool that he gave me some attention. And that's what I get. Like, I get a lot of satisfaction out of doing it, because, just seeing people smile and get involved, that's awesome. I get super excited, and that really calms me down as well. And, I definitely look forward to the interaction and on and off the ice with people.
Well, that's awesome. And that's a great reason to do it, because especially after the last, what are we at now, 15 months of sheer freaking madness of what this, COVID the pandemic has done to us. When it's all said and done, bud, we are just people. We're all different. And if we can all freaking get along better and make each other happy, that'd be great. So that's a great start. And I know the fans absolutely love it. They love what you're doing on the ice too. And we love what you're doing off the ice. And this is a great interview. This is a lot of fun, man. And we appreciate your time. And we know that a couple of days off for a player during the playoffs, Razor talked about it too off the air before. It's huge. It's huge. And so I'm sure you got more stuff that you can get to right now. But we appreciate you taking time to joining us here on Morning Brew. We know that our listeners and viewers are going to absolutely love this.
That's so good to hear. Thank you so much for having me on. That was a blast, guys.
Back to the gym. Back to the
gym
Yeah.
and get back to the river in your mind. And we're going to hit up Crafty. I'm telling you, 16 beds are being taken by us, and we're going to have a great time.
Done. Send him the link to the podcast after this. Make sure we're getting.
I am going to get your dad, my dad, an avid fisherman. He'll be going there too. All right,
awesome.
That's Jeremy Swayman. That's going to wrap this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor up. We'll be back with you with a preview of the Islanders and the Bruins getting ready to get into the second round. Everybody have a wonderful day. Have an awesome time. Enjoy this interview and enjoy that morning brew.